When a world leader stands in front of European allies and says, "Without us, you'd all be speaking German," is that diplomacy, or is that your uncle at Thanksgiving who peaked in 1955 and still thinks Europe is one giant thank you card? These are culture tips you won't hear at the World Economic Forum.
I'm Matthew, and I'm here to remind everyone that we do speak German, many of us, because we learn multiple languages.
And I'm Laura. Trump gave a speech in Switzerland where German is literally an official language to lecture Europe about not speaking German.
The irony was lost on approximately everyone in that room.
This is going to be deliciously awkward.
So let's address the elephant in the Alpine resort. Without us, you'd all be speaking German.
This phrase is like finding your grandpa's cigarette ads. You recognize it's from another era, but wow, we used to think this was acceptable?
Here's the British perspective. We were in that war from 1939. America joined in 1941. We're grateful for the help, but the American narrative skips the part where we were getting bombed for 2 years while you debated joining.
Fair. And here's the American blind spot. We get our World War II history from movies. So it's America shows up, saves everyone, roll credits.
The actual nuance, dozens of countries, millions of casualties, 5 continents, gets reduced to "you're welcome."
And it's 2026! The people who stormed Normandy are in their 90s. Their great-grandchildren are thinking, are we still dining out on this?
It's the geopolitical equivalent of your dad telling the same story at every dinner. We've heard it. Can we discuss current events now?
But to some Americans, this is just stating facts. We genuinely don't understand why it sounds offensive.
Because to Europeans, it sounds like someone who never left 1945. Also, we speak multiple languages. German isn't a threat, it's a Tuesday.
This reveals something about American exceptionalism. Many Americans get geography from movies, not maps. They can't name European countries, but they're very confident about World War II.
Confident and wrong is a terrible diplomatic combination.
And then Trump criticized Denmark for surrendering to Nazi Germany in 6 hours, implying they were cowards.
Denmark, population 6 million. Nazi Germany, one of the most powerful militaries in human history. They surrendered to avoid civilian slaughter.
And here's what Trump left out. Denmark lost 44 soldiers in Afghanistan, proportionally more than any NATO ally except us. They showed up after September 11th.
But that doesn't count because they didn't fight to the last civilian in 1940. This is what happens when World War II is your only frame of reference.
American communication style is very transactional. I did this, you owe me. That works in business deals, less so with sovereign allies.
European diplomatic culture is multilingual, multi-perspective, and built on centuries of navigating complex alliances. You don't walk into that environment and go, "Remember when we saved you?"
And domestically, his base loves this. They see it as strong, no-nonsense leadership.
Internationally, it reads as patronizing and historically illiterate. You don't remind allies what you did 80 years ago. That's not partnership. That's demanding perpetual gratitude.
Now let's talk Greenland, because this is where American assumptions about land get really awkward.
Trump suggested buying Greenland. In his speech, he framed this as perfectly reasonable.
Okay, American context. We did buy Alaska. We did buy Louisiana. Our whole Western expansion is land acquisition. So some Americans genuinely don't get why buying Greenland sounds insane.
Because it's not the 1800s. Greenland has its own government. They're not for sale. People aren't property to trade between superpowers.
Peak American exceptionalism. If we want it, it must be available for purchase. Like the world is a real estate market, and we've got the biggest wallet.
To Europeans, this sounds like colonial thinking transplanted to 2026. Greenland is Danish territory. You can't just buy countries.
But we have bought countries. That's our playbook.
Yes, when you were doing Manifest Destiny in the 1800s, the international community has moved on.
And then Trump mocked Macron for wearing sunglasses. Macron had an eye problem and joked about whether anyone believes he likes him.
At a diplomatic summit, in front of other world leaders, nothing says strong alliance like public mockery.
Here's the thing. Trump's rhetoric works domestically because millions of Americans have never left the country. No passport, can't name European capitals, think the world works like Risk.
Whereas Europeans speak multiple languages, travel constantly, learn world history that doesn't center their own nation. Not superior, just different context.
But when you're at the World Economic Forum, maybe don't lead with your greatest hits from 1945.
Just a thought.
The Danish foreign minister's response was so restrained. He could have said a lot more.
That's European diplomatic culture. We don't publicly roast allied leaders, even when they're being absurd.
Meanwhile, Trump's over here like, remember when you couldn't defend yourselves? Anyway, I'd like to purchase some of your territory.
A diplomatic masterclass.
Let's talk about what Trump's speech didn't mention. What Europe has done for America since World War II.
NATO Article 5 has been invoked once. Not to defend Europe, to defend America after 9/11.
British, Danish, German, French, Polish troops died in Afghanistan and Iraq. Those weren't their wars. They showed up because of alliance commitments.
The EU is also America's largest trading partner. This isn't charity. Both sides benefit enormously from trade, security, intelligence.
So when Trump frames it as, we do everything, get nothing back, that's insulting to European soldiers who died supporting our foreign policy.
But facts are less satisfying than you'd be speaking German.
Here's the culture tip. Every country has nationalist rhetoric. Britain has Rule Britannia. France has its revolution myths. China has its century of humiliation.
These stories help build national identity. The problem is using outdated rhetoric in modern diplomacy.
The world has actual problems. Climate change, cybersecurity, economic instability, Ukraine. These need partnership, not lectures about 1945.
If your diplomatic strategy is, we saved you in a war your grandparents fought, maybe update your talking points.
Every culture has blind spots, but at the World Economic Forum, maybe consult someone under 80 first.
Revolutionary suggestion.
And can we talk about the cultural competency gap? Many Americans can't find Denmark on a map, but are very confident about Danish military history.
Confidently wrong strikes again.
Meanwhile, the American education system doesn't teach that Denmark fought in Afghanistan, or that NATO defended US after 9/11, or that Europe is our largest trading partner.
Hence the you owe us narrative persists unchallenged domestically.
It's not malicious, it's just ignorance combined with really good World War II movies.
The deadliest combination in international relations.
So here's our question. What's the most outdated nationalist rhetoric in your country? Every culture has that one phrase leaders use to avoid discussing actual issues.
Drop it in the comments. We want to know what makes you cringe in your own culture.
If you're American thinking, wait, Denmark fought in Afghanistan? That's the educational gap we're talking about.
If you're European thinking, finally someone said it, welcome. We've been waiting 80 years for this conversation.
Because cultural misunderstandings aren't just between countries, they're between generations. Leaders stuck in 1945 meeting a world that moved on.
And somehow the world keeps turning without constant reminders about who saved whom.
If you enjoyed this diplomatic disaster breakdown, subscribe, because we're back to our dating series next week.
What happens when meeting your partner's parents means just dinner in one culture, but you're basically engaged in another?
Because if you thought international diplomacy was confusing, wait until you try international dating.
At least Trump didn't try to buy anyone's parents.
Duh, don't give him ideas.
Until next time, maybe just ask what meeting the family means before you show up.